Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 5 of my Warframe, the Ultimate Beginner's Guide 2.0. In today's video, we're going to be talking about everything that we have to do on Mars, and also we're going to be talking about a few other things to complement all of that. So I'm not going to waste any of your time today. We're going to get straight into the Phobos Junction and what we have to do to get to Phobos. So the first requirement is defeat 150 enemies in a single mission on Mars. Now, this is a pretty easy requirement. If you want to check your progress during the mission, you can hold down tab, you can press P, you can pause the game and go to view mission progress, and it'll show you how many kills you have at the time of opening it. But I would recommend doing this mission on Augustus. You should be going around and then doing all of your nodes whenever you get to Mars to begin with. As you can see, I've already done most of mine, so I would recommend going Hellas, then Spear, then Ares, then Augustus, then Gradavis, all the way up to the Phobos Junction. That way, of course, whenever you finally complete all of these challenges, then you're going to be able to, kill the boss on the Phobos Junction and do your thing. So the second requirement that we have right here might make you quit the game. This is to scan free Cephalon fragments, and if you don't know what Cephalon fragments are, I should have a little bit of gameplay on screen right now. Basically what it is a big glowing blue ball. Whenever you scan enough of them on any given planet, it's going to unlock a lore entry in your codex. So it's up to you whether or not you want to do all of them in the game. I personally never scan these things other than for this junction requirement. So you scan 3 of these. As a newer player, it might be difficult for you to find all 3 of them. It might take you an entire hour to find 3 of them, or it might take you days. It just depends on how much you play and also how lucky you are. Sometimes these things can spawn just on your main path, right? Go into the objective and then go into the exit, that there type of thing. And then some other times they spawn in the most obscure locations, so like really hidden rooms that newer players probably have no chance of finding because, of course, they haven't explored the maps enough yet. So, yeah, this requirement may make you quit the game. Wouldn't blame you if you did, just take a break from the game once you hit this requirement. But, yeah, it's definitely an annoying one. And I think that they should tone it down to 1 Cephalon fragment rather than 3 because it's just a progression stopper and it's not that enjoyable. So, yeah, but this third and final challenge that we have to do is to open 3 Lith Void Relics. Now, if you guys recall, whenever we completed the Mars Junction back on Earth, we got a little Void Relic kiosk thing. So if we back out of our, what's it called here? Our navigation. And we come to the back of our ship, like where the arsenal is, and then we take a left from our arsenal, we can see that we have this little Void Relics thing over here. And this is basically where you can view all of the Void Relics that are available in-game and the ones that you have. So the ones that you have, obviously, they're not transparent, they're not grayed out. So you can see that I've got 5 Lith D1s, 13 Lith L2, 3 Lith M4, so on and so forth. And what you can also see is that these drop Prime weapon and Warframe parts, right? So you can get the Atlas Prime blueprint from the Lith D1, as well as a Bursting Prime receiver and a Lex Prime receiver. Those are common rewards. Then the uncommon rewards are a Mesa Prime blueprint, Ninkandi Prime chain, and then the rare is a Death Cube Prime blueprint. So if we go ahead and we click on that, we can see that below the rewards, we've got this color of little UI element basically that is representing the rarity of the rewards. So the bronze little line with the diamond in the middle, that is common rewards. Then we've got the silver one with the 3 diamonds in the middle, that is your uncommon. And then we've got the gold one with the lotus flower sort of looking thing, which is your rare, right? So whenever you're playing through these Void Relic missions that the junction requirement requires us to do, keep those 3 rarities in mind because you're going to want to pick rewards at the end of the mission based on these said rarities, because these missions are basically missions where you jump in and you use one of those relics. So if we go to our navigation, we go back to Mars. If we take a look at this little flame icon on the top right, we click on this, we can see that there is a rescue mission on Mars right now, and this is a Void Fisher mission. And in these Void Fisher missions, we can use the Void Relics that we have to get the rewards from those Void Relics. So if we click on this and then we choose a relic, we can equip that for our mission, right? So let's say, for example, I wanted to farm up Atlas Prime and its blueprint, right? So I would use this Lift D1 relic in this mission, and then at the end, I would have a chance at getting either the Burston Prime Receiver, Atlas Prime Blueprint, Lex Prime Receiver, Ninkandi Prime Chain, Mesa Prime Blueprint, Death Cube Prime Blueprint, right? So you can only get one of these rewards from one relic. So it's one reward per one relic. So per mission, you're going to get one reward, unless it's like a endless mission, like for example, a survival or a defense mission. In that case, it's per rotation. So every 5 minutes, every 5 waves in the mission, you're able to choose a relic once you hit like the next drop point, basically. So every 5 minutes in survival, every 5 waves in defense. So yeah, that is basically how that works. What I would recommend that you guys do as newer players is go out of your way to use Void Relics, like for example this Lif S8 relic. If you have it, use them to get Forma. Forma is going to be very, very, very important whenever it comes to making your Warframes and your weapons stronger. And of course, the stronger your Warframes and your weapons are, then the easier it's going to be to farm up all this other stuff that, you know, is prime. So prime Warframes, prime weapons, etc., etc., etc. So at the beginning of the game, get as much Forma as you possibly can. You're going to get it in the form of blueprints because you have to craft them using, as you can see, 35,000 credits, 1 Morphix, 1 Road, 1 Neural Sensor, which we haven't even got yet, and then 1 Oracle Cell. So your goal is to get as many Forma blueprints as possible because it's going to consume the blueprint once you use it, and then get as many credits, Morphix, Neuros, Neural Sensors, Oracle Cells, etc., and then you're going to be able to craft a ton of Forma, and you're going to use this Forma to then upgrade your Warframes, making them stronger, because Forma allows you to put more polarities onto your Warframes modding section. So that's the little shapes that we had that half the cost of our mod, right? So you want to be investing, I would say, in the area of like 2 to 3 Forma per Warframe and potentially weapon. Sometimes it takes more, sometimes it takes less. It depends on the build that you're going for and how many polarities at base the weapon or Warframe has. So it's usually in that area of 2 to 3 though. So, you know, sort of allocate, find out which frames you want to play and which weapons you want to use, and allocate 2 or 3 Forma per every single weapon or frame, and then farm up that number of Forma accordingly, you know? So, you know, you're going to run into circumstances where you're going to need to farm up more Forma to make a particular build to help you get through a certain piece of content. You may run into that scenario or you may not. It just sort of depends on your understanding of the game and exactly what it is that you're trying to do. So, you know, I would just farm as much Forma as possible unless you're going for something specific. You can use these prime weapons and prime Warframes and stuff like that. You can trade these to other players for the premium currency platinum. So in the event that you don't get a Forma drop, just go for the rarest thing that pops up whenever you're opening up these relics. Another thing is that it is only worth it to do these Void Relic missions whenever you're co-oping. Don't do them solo, simply because at the end of the mission, you're going to be able to choose between your own reward and another player's reward. So we're going to jump into a co-op Void Relic mission right now. So if we just go and make this public, and we go to this rescue, and we choose whatever relic, you'll see that we get put into a lobby with 3 other players. Let it load. Let it do its thing. So we've got our other players here, and we can pause the game and see which relics they have on. So I've got a Lift D1 relic on. This guy's got a Lift C4. They've got a Lift L2, and we've got a Lift Z2, right? So what you can do is you can take the name of the relic, right? So I want to see what's in my Lift D1, for example. I type a square bracket, Lift D1. I can click on this. I can see the rewards that it gives. I can do the same for his. Lift C4. Burston Prime, Forma, Paris, Bratton, Orphos, Chroma Prime. Let's see. We got Lift L2. Click on it. Equinox Prime, Piranha Prime, Redeemer, Bratton, Techo, Limbo. And then finally, Lift Z2. Or Z2, however you want to pronounce it. Lift Z2. That's not working for some reason. Lift Z. That's just not working for me. Probably because I haven't discovered it yet, maybe. But whenever you sort of like discover a relic for the first time, that's gonna work for you. I'm not too sure why that isn't working though. It should be working, but unfortunately it's not. Odd. But yeah, so what we have to do now is play the mission as normal. So this is a rescue mission where we go and we save the guy. But you'll notice that there's going to be like these void portals that are appearing around the map and spawning in enemies that are glowing gold. These enemies are basically from the void, and what these portals are also going to do is they're going to corrupt the enemies that are around as well. So any enemy that is near a portal, they're basically going to be like slightly buffed up, right? They might deal more damage or something, who knows, but basically they glow gold, and all you really need to know is that enemies who are glowing golds, they have a chance to drop these things called reactant, right? So I like to call them lemons because, I don't know, I just think it's memorable. But those little things that you can see, like you see in the little UI element of them sort of lying around, that was reactant, and you need 10 reactant before you complete the mission to get the prime reward at the end from your relic, right? So you can see in the top left-hand corner that I have 10 out of 10 reactant. Whenever you do get your 10 out of 10 reactant, you're going to get a buff. So up in the top right-hand corner, you can see just beside my health and shield that I have a buff that lasts for another 3 seconds. It's basically infinite ammo in my bolter. So, you know, that's a thing. I will have like a little bit more gameplay of this up on the screen later on, like near the end of the video, just so you can sort of have a better visual representation. But these gold enemies, the ones that I'm killing right now, they're basically reskinned enemies from the factions that you've already been against, so the Corpus, the Grenadier, etc., etc. They just have like different effects. So for example, there is a Corpus enemy called the Nullifier. He has a big bubble around them, and if you're inside that bubble, then your abilities basically turn off. Well, it's basically the same enemy, except he is retextured, you know what I mean? And his bubble is golden instead of blue, that type of thing. So it's not as if those enemies are, you know, anything drastically different, I guess you could say. But yeah, so that's basically all there is to this Void Relic system. I've got my 10 reactant, the mission's completed. All I have to do now is get to the end of the mission with my co-op partners. So we should actually be at the end now. And then you'll see that once everybody gets here, we can choose whichever. So you've got these silver ones, which is the uncommon. The bronze are the common. So we didn't really get anything good from ours. So I'm going to choose one from this guy over here, the Silva and Aegis Prime Blueprint, because it's an uncommon. So most people chose that. And then I'm going to get that there at the end of the mission. So as you can see, Silva and Aegis Prime Blueprint instead of the one that I got from my relics. So that's how you go about farming prime items. And it's also going to be how you go about farming Forma. You have to do that 3 times to move on to the next junction. It's a pretty fun and rewarding system, I'm not going to lie. I would recommend doing it with your clan friends or just friends that you have in general who also play Warframe, because that's how you're going to get the most enjoyment out of it. But yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to take a breath now because I've been talking for 13 minutes straight. And then we'll talk a little bit more about other things that we can invest into to help us out with our progression-free Warframe. Alright, so with all the things that I've got leveled up so far, I can actually level up to Mastery Rank 3. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the Mastery Rank 3 test. But before I do that, I'm going to show you all the things that I've leveled up thus far that has allowed me to move on to Mastery Rank 3. So if we go ahead and we press on progress, we can see that I've got the Bolter the max rank, I've got the Excalibur Warframe the max rank, the MK1 Paris, the Scanna, Lado to level 29, the Artax to level 28, Taxon to level 20, and the MK1 Strun to level 5. And that's all that I've leveled up so far to allow me to do the Mastery Rank 3 test. So with that knowledge, let's just go ahead and jump into the Mastery Rank up. We can see that we get Syndicate access. So Syndicates are basically factions. We're going to talk a little bit about those after we do this test. We've got plus 1,000 daily standing limit. That's going to be relevant whenever we talk about the Syndicates. We've got our Void Trace storage, which Void Traces are like little rewards that you get at the end of a relic mission. It's basically like implemented as a way to reward you even if you didn't get what you wanted from the relic, because these Void Traces allow you to upgrade the relics to better your chances at getting the item that you want. So it might decrease the chance of getting a common item, but then increase the chances of getting an uncommon or rare item, if that makes sense. So I'll show that there off at some point as well. And we also have +1 base mod capacity. So basically, whenever you're modding your Warframes, your base modding capacity is going to match your mastery rank. So if you are mastery rank 3, but you're using a level 0 Warframer weapon, that Warframer weapon is still going to have free mastery rank, or not free mastery rank, sorry, free capacity. So that's how that works. So let's just go ahead, jump in, and we'll do this test. So this master rank test is pretty easy as well. All you have to do is kill the bad guys with your sword. Pretty straightforward, honestly. Nothing too advanced about it. It's the same as master rank 1 and 2, except you're using a different weapon or a different weapon type. So these are corpus enemies. They've got shields and they've got their fleshy health. So they should be easy to cut through if you're using the scanner. That enemy was armored right there, so you would take a few more swings, but I've actually upgraded my mods just a little bit, so he's not too hard. And I'll talk about the mods that I have on all of my Warframes and weapons after we talk about Syndicates. Alright, so now that we are Master Rank 3, we have been given access to Syndicates, and Syndicates are basically like a faction system found within Warframe that you need to make sacrifices to sort of like become part of the faction, while also like representing them while you're going through your missions on a day-to-day basis, right? So if we just go over to this little console over here and we interact with it, we can see that we have all these different factions to choose from. Some of these factions are allied with one another and opposed to others. So for example, Steel Meridian, which is the one that we're going to be going for, they are allied with Red Veils. So we're going to get half the amount of standing that we are getting with Steel Meridian while we do our missions. Whenever we do pick Steel Meridian, we're going to get half that amount with Red Veil, right? So if we get 1,000 XP with Steel Meridian, we'll get 500 for Red Veil, and then New Luca, like, it's going to go down by, you know, whatever we get for Red Veil is going to go down for New Luca, and then whatever we get for Steel Meridian is going to go down for the parent sequence. So if we get 1,000 XP for Steel Meridian, we're going to get negative 1,000 XP for the parent sequence, if that makes sense. So, you can go into the negative with this, so whenever you go into negative standing with a syndicate, then you're basically like opposed, and the enemies from said syndicate are going to come after you randomly in your missions, right? So we're going to be going with the Steel Meridian simply because we want to get a mod from the Steel Meridian syndicate that is going to make a weapon that we're going to get later on very, very, very powerful. So it's prompted us to go to the relay here, which we're going to go ahead and do. I've never actually done this before, so I don't know. I've never had to go into the relay to activate my syndicate, so this is completely new to me. So here we are in the Steel Meridian room. I've been here before, but I've never had to actually talk to the people. Okay, so we're right up in our face. So we press this initiation button, and it asks us to sacrifice 1,000 salvage and 10,000 credits. So we just initiate, we sacrifice that stuff, and then there we go. We get the Steel Meridian sigil. So what we've got to do now is we got to go back to our ship. I don't know why it likes to force us into the relay. We go back to our ship, and we equip that sigil onto our Warframe, right? So we go down to our armory, and we go to appearance. We go to regalia. We go to front or back sigil, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go front. We press no chest sigil selected. We press our Steel Meridian sigil, and there you go. You can see that our sigil is now on the chest of our Warframe. Now, the annoying part is that you have to go and equip that to every single Warframe that you're ever going to have. You can tweak this and make it like brighter or more opaque or whatever you want to do with it, you can do. You can change the position of it, you can rotate it, all that there cool stuff. Let's just go ahead and make this like a straight line down my Excalibur's chest. I think that's as straight as I'm going to get it. So let's go ahead and lower it, or not lower it. That's changing the width as we're looking at it now, but the actual height of it. So maybe the Y offset. Yeah, that's better. That looks better. Cool. So basically, as we go through missions now, any XP that we get in those missions is going to go to our syndicate, right? So we have to get 3,000 XP. Well, not 3,000 XP, but we need to get 3,000 syndicate standing to upgrade our syndicate, right? It's not actually the XP that you get, but as you play missions with the Syndicate sigil equipped, you're going to get XP for your Syndicate, right? It's not necessarily going to match the XP that you're getting in game, but just know that as you're playing missions with the sigil equipped, then you're making progress with the Syndicate that you're a part of, right? 110% go with Steel Meridian. It's just going to make things a little bit more straightforward. You can dabble in the other ones if you really, really want to, but just be aware that if you side with a Syndicate that is opposed to the Steel Meridian, well, then you're sort of like going off track with this guide. And, you know, if you get stuck at a certain point, then you're going to have to grind up, you know, the Steel Meridian reputation or the premium currency or whatever to get the mods that I'm getting from the Steel Meridian to sort of like follow on with the guide, right? So, yeah, that's important to keep in mind. But now that we have this equipped, I'm not going to take that off. Make sure that if you get a new Warframe, you equip it as well. Otherwise, you're not going to be making progress. So that's important to keep in mind as well. So you can see down here at the bottom of the screen, we have a daily standing cap of 3,000. And this little bar at the bottom is basically representative of how much we have got off our standing for our daily cap, right? So your standing cap resets at midnight every single night. So if you are that hardcore, you can stay up until midnight and then, you know, grind up your standing then. So if you like really want to make progress and get things done as soon as possible. It's midnight for me and I'm from the UK. Sometimes it changes to 1 in the morning whenever we swap time zones. So it might be a completely different time for you guys. It's just when the daily reset happens in your region. I recommend Googling it because I'm not too sure what they all are off the top of my head. But yeah, so I could only earn a little bit of standing with Steel Meridian today because even though I wasn't like, you know, what's the word, like all the way up there to get my syndicates yet, it's made a little bit of progress here for some reason. So not too sure why that's a thing, but tomorrow it's gonna, you know, reset and allow me to get my full 3,000 daily standing. So you're gonna get like 1,000 standing per master rank that you go up. Like your cap is going to increase every single day. So if I was to be master rank 4, I would be able to get 4,000 standing in a day, right? So the game gets easier as you play it and as you progress, and this is why it's important to be up in your master rank as soon as possible, because you want to be able to, you know, farm up as much standing for your syndicates and whatnot as soon as possible. Now, the really interesting thing as well is that this isn't the only place where this sort of system is used. If you remember, back whenever we first started the game, there was a place called Cetus, which led to the Plains of Eidolon, the open world-like area. Basically, the guy there, the bald guy, Baldy Bap as I called him, he is also like a faction in his own, right? So you can do the bounties in the Plains of Eidolon, the missions that he gives, to earn standing with him as well, and it's going to be important that you do that on a daily basis too. You might not be ready to jump into it right now because of the enemy levels and whatnot, but if you feel comfortable doing those types of missions, I would recommend doing it. I'm actually going to go out of my way to farm up a little bit of standing with him, so I'm not going to do it right now, but I am going to do it after this video, and I'm going to keep on doing it. And I'll basically show my progress to you guys as I go along, and just show you, like, you know, at what stage in the game did I hit what stage in the Plains of Eidolon standing guy or the Baldy Bap guy and the Steel Meridian Syndicate and stuff like that. So as the series goes on, I'll sort of keep you guys right and say, hey, I am, you know, at this rank now with the Baldy Bap guy, or I am at this rank now with the Steel Meridian, so on and so forth. So you're going to need to get different stuff to trade to this vendor and other vendors to sort of rank up. So you can see that the next title, it requires Morphics and credits as well. So make sure you have a bunch of these left over so you can trade over to these people to rank up, because this is going to be what sort of like stumps your progress with these vendors as well. The fact that you have to go out of your way to get things. You're eventually going to have to farm up the prime items from the Void Relics like we mentioned earlier to progress with the Syndicate as well. So keep that in mind, and just, you know, maybe do a little bit of research ahead of time and get the item that you need. Whenever I figure out which item I need at this stage in the game, then I will let you guys know. But that item is also going to be constantly changing with how they rotate in and out the prime frames and weapons and stuff like that. So, you know, that's also important to keep in mind as well. Like, not everything that I show you guys in this guide is going to be 110% accurate and up to date. So make sure that you're doing your own research as well, because by the time you're watching this, something could have changed and changed up the progression and all that there type of stuff. So yeah, keep all of that in mind as well. Alright, so what I also wanted to show you guys was the progress that I've been making with my mods. So what I would recommend that you guys do is for every single one rank that you put into a mod, put a rank into all the other mods that you think are worth it, right? So for example, I've put 4 ranks into my Vitality mod, which means I've also put 4 ranks into my Rush mod, right? And I've tried to do the same for every single other mod that I have as well. So I've put 4 ranks into my Serration mod, but I didn't have enough endo to sort of like invest into the other mods as well. So I put 4 ranks into my Hornet Strike mod. I've just sort of like went in order of how important the mod is, basically. So, you know, obviously more damage for my rifles is very important, and more damage for my secondaries is very important, and more damage for my melee is very important as well. Elemental damage is very important. If you recall back to the episode where I explained how damage works, you'll understand like the importance of elemental damage and stuff like that. So attack speed is very important and all that type of stuff. So just try to like upgrade mods all with one another, and then that way like you don't find yourself in the scenario where you can only like throw one mod on, right? The downside is the more you rank up your mods, the more they're going to cost to throw onto your weapons and your Warframes. So that's why I'm saying like rank all the mods up one by one, and then like put 1 into Hornet Strike, then put 1 into Pistol Gambit or Heated Charge or whatever the case may be. So then that way you can have more mods on. They're just like, you know, giving slightly higher benefits than what they would be, you know, at the beginning of the game or whatever, that type of thing. So, you know, just try to upgrade all of your mods together if you can. Don't worry too much if you can't, because you're eventually going to have them all upgraded. But I would say just for, you know, sake of covering all of your bases, then upgrade them all one by one, and, you know, have them all sort of like going in at the same time, basically. I don't know how else to explain that. But yeah, guys, with all that being said, that is pretty much it for this episode of the Beginner Guide. I know it was a pretty bland episode, but there's not really much I can do to sort of hold your hand through those requirements, apart from tell you exactly what it is that you have to do and then expect you to sort of go and do them. The only other thing that I can really show you is like gameplay of me completing a relic by myself and showing you like, or giving you a better look at what the little reactants look like and what the buff you get after you pick up 10 looks like. So the unlimited ammo in my bolter, for example, you can get that buff for your primary weapon, you can get it for your secondary weapon. I'm pretty sure you can get one for melee, which increases the melee range, and you can get one for your Warframe, which increases their power strength and power range. So that is pretty much all I can share with you guys in today's video. Next episode is going to be a little bit more interesting because we have bosses to kill and we have a quest to do. So, you know, stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to, you know, dislike it because, you know, maybe I didn't help you at all, that's fair too. But yeah, subscribe for more Warframe content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.